So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a statement, and then I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to think about it, like 30 seconds, and then use the definitions that you have to kind of determine if it's an ad hominem attack, an ad ignorantium attack, anything like that. So, and then I'll ask you to hold on to type it, but don't turn it in yet, and I'll count you down, and then everybody can go ahead and submit at the same time, because then we'll get to see everybody's different responses. Okay, so the first one, Caroline says that she thinks her friend should not be so rude to the new girl. Jenna says that she cannot believe that Caroline is choosing to be better friends with the new girl than the girls who have always known her. So 30 seconds, and then I'll have you guys answer. So think about it. What kind of fallacy is this? Okay, so go ahead and type in your answer, but don't hit enter yet. I'll count you off. Okay, so go ahead and submit your answer in 3, 2, 1. I can see peer pressure in live and in action. Well, they said red herring, so it must be red herring. Everyone is saying red herring. Now it's ad hominem. Oh, they're saying ad hominem. Was it red herring at our ad hominem? I don't know. Ad misericordiam, I don't know. Pizza. Okay, so for those of you who said, let's say ad hominem, why would it be an ad hominem attack?
Because it's based on her, like, her personal, like, her personality, and not necessarily her, like, any qualifications.
Let's see. But all right, let's see. Is Jenna putting a personal attack on Caroline, like saying she's dumb or stupid or ugly or anything like that?
No, I guess not.
Not quite. So maybe not a complete personal attack, because she's referencing the arguments that she's making, but she's doing something with that argument. What about who said red herring? Why would it be red herring? Anybody?
I think because they're saying there's a new girl there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's something that's like how it says, like introducing a secondary, like another person.
Gotcha. Well, Caroline's the one who brings up the new girl. Jenna's just exaggerating what she's talking about and saying that she only wants to focus on the new girl.
Mm-hmm.
So Caroline brought it up. Jenna's going further with it. So maybe not quite red herring. It's actually, because I don't think I saw it. I don't think I saw anybody say it. It's actually oh, that's right. It's actually a straw man argument. She's taking the argument that Caroline is saying that people should be nicer to the new girl, and Jenna is extrapolating that and exaggerating it to make it easier for her to refute Caroline's proposal. So it's straw man. Here's another one. It should be okay to destroy property when you are angry, because angry people destroy things. So give this a think. I'm going to give you 30 seconds starting now.
Professor, sorry to bother. I can't find that thing on Blackboard.
It's in the class documents under argumentative study guide.
Okay, class documents. All right.
Okay, so I'll give you guys another 25 seconds since of that. So at 12:23, we'll give it a thing. Okay, so let's see. Go ahead and write your answers down and I'll count you off. Don't answer yet. Everybody write it down in the chat, but don't hit enter yet so everybody can turn it in at the same time. Okay, so type it in. All right, now 3, 2, 1, hit enter. Good. A lot of you are starting to get the hang of it. Yeah, it is. It's a circular argument. It's implicitly using the conclusion as a premise. Very good. Okay, so let's try this one. A lawyer who argues that his client should not be held responsible for theft because he is poor. Ooh. A lawyer who argues that his client should not be held responsible for theft because he is poor. So I'll give you 30 seconds on this one. And I'll give you a hint. It's not what you think it might be. Okay, so let's go ahead and start writing your answers in, and then I'll tell you when to hit enter. In 3, 2, 1, hit enter. Red herring, ad misericordium, red herring, red herring, red herring, ad misericordium. Okay, so it looks like mostly red herring and ad misericordium. And oh, and ad ignorantium. All right, so let's go through these. Why would it be ad misericordium?
Because he's asking for pity.
He's asking for pity. But it's the lawyer asking his client for pity, right?
Yeah.
Usually with an ad misericordium, it's you asking yourself. You are asking for self-pity.
So it would have to be the client who's asking for pity, not the lawyer.
Precisely. And you'll see what I mean in another example coming up right now. So that's, so misericordium. What about ad ignorantium? Why would it be ad ignorantium? So ad ignorantium is arguing a claim is true because it has not been shown to be false.
From my kind of understanding, I just thought if the lawyer is defending someone who was accused of theft, I would say that they will try to argue that it isn't true. That was where my head was at, but I'm not entirely sure.
Do we have any context that he's lying that the client is not poor?
Yeah, we don't have any like context if he isn't poor or not.
Right. So there we go. So we're not quite in the ad ignorantium area. What about red herring? A lot of you said red herring. Red herring, introducing an irrelevant or secondary subject and thereby diverting attention from the main subject.
I think that's because he's introducing the subject of being poor, uh, which is irrelevant to the crime.
Is it though? Because he's kind of setting up motive and mitigating circumstances in his plea. It's kind of the thing you do as a lawyer.
Sir, can I change my answer to be straw man?
Straw man? Sure, you can change to straw man. Tell me why straw man.
Well, the lawyer is saying he's arguing that his client is responsible for theft because he's poor. So he's trying to show the opposite view, kind of, and he's trying to basically put, oh, this is easier to refute because he's poor.
Gotcha.
Because
Let me
he's
ask
showing
you,
the
is the lawyer saying that is there an establishment that he's poor, and then going even further than that and saying that he's like living under a bridge or something like that?
no.
No, so he's not exaggerating the claim. He's giving a matter of fact claim. I think here's the thing. None of you got it. And this is the trickiest one of the whole thing. What is the lawyer doing to the client?
Downgrading him?
Attacking him.
He's calling him poor.
Basically.
He is disparaging him. Perhaps even attacking his person.
Oh, so ad hominem?
It's an ad hominem. Here's the tricky reason about that. We get distracted because of the context of it being a lawyer saying something about his client, meaning that we automatically think of like the defense of what the lawyer is trying to do to their client. But the actual function of his defense is to disparage his character as a mitigating circumstance, which means that he is actually committing an ad hominem attack to make his client look more sympathetic. But regardless of the intent, what the lawyer is actually doing is attacking his client. So it's an ad hominem attack. Do you see? This is the hardest one. It's the trickiest one. But that's why he's doing it. The lawyer is disparaging his client, is making a personal attack on his client, even though it is in the service of defending him. So here's another one. Oh, officer, there's no reason to give me a traffic ticket for going too fast because I was just on my way to the hospital to see my wife who is in serious condition, to tell her I just lost my job and the car will be repossessed.
Damn.
We just had a long discussion about context. I think everybody should probably get this one pretty quickly. I'll give you 15 seconds. Okay. 3, 2, 1. It is indeed ad misericordiam. It's an appeal to pity. Please don't give me a ticket because all of these bad things happen to me. Let's try this one. People who think abortion should be banned have no respect for the rights of women. They treat them as nothing but baby-making machines. That's wrong. Women must have the right to choose. Give that a think for a second. 10 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ad hominem, straw man, straw man. The majority of you are getting it. Yeah, it's a straw man. It's an exaggeration. It's the argument saying that women must have the right to choose, and it's disparaging people who think abortion should be banned, and then they give this like out there motive that's saying that women should just be broodmares. Yeah, and it doesn't take into account any nuance of why someone might be pro-life instead of pro-choice. It just it paints someone who's in favor, who's pro-life in very broad strokes. So yeah, it's a straw man. Okay, so let's get this one. When you're late getting home past curfew, you distract your parents by talking to them about the weather, how cold it is, how rainy it is. I'll say it one more time. When you're late getting home past curfew, you distract your parents by talking to them about the weather, how cold it is, or how rainy it is. Uh, 20 seconds. Okay, start putting in your answers in 3, 2, 1. Hey, you guys are getting the hang of this. You're very good. It's a distraction. Should have shown you because there's a big word that says distract in the example. It is. It's a red herring. Very good. Although we have proven that the moon is not made of spare ribs, we have not proven that its core cannot be filled with them. Therefore, the moon's core is filled with spare ribs. 30 seconds. Okay, go ahead and write your answer in 3, 2, 1. Cool. You're right. It's an ad ignorantium. I'm seeing for the most part ad ignorantium. It is claiming, it's arguing the claim is true because it has not been shown to be false. It's trying to prove a negative. It's like saying, I think that I believe that there is a teapot flying around Saturn. And they go, well, that's ridiculous. And the other person goes, well, you haven't proven that there's not a teapot flying around Saturn. It's trying to prove a negative, and it's impossible to do. Let's try this one. I deserve to have a later curfew, so you should let me out until 10 p.m. I deserve to have a later curfew, so you should let me stay out until 10 p.m. Fifteen seconds. Okay, go ahead and type your answers in and submit them in 3, 2, 1. It is. It's a circular argument. It's a circular argument is implicitly using your conclusion as a premise. I should allow to be stay out later, so you should let me stay out until 10. The priest told me I should have faith. I have faith that my son will do well in school this year. Therefore, the priest should be happy with me. The priest told me I should have faith. I have faith that my son will do well in school this year. Therefore, the priest should be happy with me. "20 seconds. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have a split down the middle. Who said circular and why circular? Circular argument, implicitly using your conclusion as a premise.
I think because he's just assuming that the priest is going to be happy with him.
Is the term used in what she says in the beginning, the priest told me I should have faith. Is the second version of faith, I have faith that my son will do well in school this year? Is that the same kind of faith that the priest is talking about?
No.
Hmm.
Mm,
Because that's more of a religious faith that the priest is talking about, but in the second sentence, it's more about faith in a person.
mhm.
So what do we think?
Oh, okay, got it.
So what do we think?
How do you say it? Equivocation?
Yes, number E.
Equivocation.
Yeah.
It is. It's equivocation. Equivocation is sliding from one meaning of a term to another in the middle of an argument. Very good. In spite of all the talk, not a single flying saucer report has been authenticated. We may assume, therefore, there are no such things as flying saucers. In spite of all the talk, not a single flying saucer report has been authenticated. We may assume, therefore, there are no such things as flying saucers. Okay, 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yep, you guys got it. Ad ignorantium, arguing that a claim is true just because it has not been shown to be false. Okay, let's try another one. A mother who tells the pediatrician that she doesn't trust his judgment because he has never been a mother. A mother who tells the pediatrician that she doesn't trust his judgment because he's never been a mother. 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Very good. It is. It's an attack of the person. It's an ad hominem attack. Let's try this one. Noisy children are a real headache. 2 aspirin will make a headache go away. Therefore, 2 aspirin will make noisy children go away. Noisy children are a real headache. 2 aspirin will make a headache go away. Therefore, 2 aspirin will make noisy children go away. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Circular argument. I see a lot of circular argument. Implicitly using your conclusion as a premise. Lot of there's a lot of circular argument. Tell me why circular argument. What is the conclusion? How is the premise being used, or how is the conclusion being used as a premise?
The conclusion is that the conclusion is to take 2 aspirins, and the premise that the argument they're trying to use is that you have a headache from noisy children. So they're trying to basically use the conclusion of they want you to take 2 aspirins to make noisy children go away. Saying that
Are they using the term headache in the same way in those 2 sentences in the beginning?
kind of, because one they're putting the source of the headache, and they're putting the conclusion of the headache right after, and then they're saying that these are equal to each other.
Perhaps, but could it mean that noisy children are a real headache, as in the colloquial term of being an annoyance? Noisy children are a real headache, as in they can be an annoyance, as opposed to 2 aspirin will make a headache, as in your blood vessels physically throbbing. So headache and headache aren't necessarily being used in the same way. And if they're changing a term in the middle of the statement, what does that make it?
An equivalent?
Nice and loud, you got it.
Oh, equivocation?
Equivocation, it is, because it's changing the way that headache is being used. And because think of the absurdity at the end of it. 2 aspirin will make noisy children go away. By taking 2 aspirin, your children will disappear. If only. So it's equivocation. It's changing the term in the middle of the argument. So let's try another one. I really deserve an A on this paper, Professor. Not only did I study during my grandmother's funeral, but I also passed up the heart transplant surgery, even though that was the first matching donor in 3 years. I know, right? 20 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yep, you got it. Yeah, it's an appeal to pity. Ad misericordiam. It's to have someone feel sorry for them. I don't see how you can say you're an ethical person. It's so hard to get you to do anything. Your work ethic is so bad. $20. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, ad hominem, circular argument, straw man, ad hominem. Okay, so why would it be an ad hominem attack?
Because you're attacking a person?
It's a critique for sure, but it does have some context though, doesn't it, about how they're saying that they're an ethical person. There's what about what about straw man? Why straw man? Straw man is a caricature of an opposing viewpoint from what anyone's likely to hold, so it's easy to refute.
It kind of felt like they were saying because it's so hard to get them to do anything that it was kind of like exaggerating the point that they're unethical.
Now, is there a difference in the use of the term ethical and ethic?
Yes, there is.
How
One,
so? One is morality, right?
yeah, and the other is like a practice, not necessarily a belief.
So changing a term, huh? What might
So
that
the
be?
equivocation.
It is indeed equivocation.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Here's a fun one. Since the class has no questions concerning the topics discussed in class, the class is ready for a test. I love this one. Since none of you have any questions, y'all can take a test. You must be ready for it.
What happens if you do have questions?
Since the class has no questions discussing the topics discussed in class, the class is ready for a test. "15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I see some ad ignorantium. I see some circular argument. Let's see. Why would it be circular argument? Anybody? Anybody who said circular, why would it be circular? Nigel, Anthony, Stephanie.
Oh, because you're using the since there's no question, then it's time for a test.
So, well, that's the logic behind it, yes. But let's look at the definition of circular argument. Implicitly using your conclusion as a premise, meaning that, because the class, so
Yeah, the premise, the conclusion is that just nobody has no questions.
Is that the conclusion? That they have no questions, or is the conclusion that the class is ready for a test?
Depends on how you flip it.
Mm,
Because even look at the way that the sentence is formed. It's an introductory clause, right? Since the class has no questions discussed of the topics discussed in class, and then we see the use of the comma right there. See, the comma still come back in. The actual statement is the class is ready for a test. The 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 reasoning behind it is since you have no questions. Is that necessarily saying that the class is ready for a test is used as a premise?
No.
guess
Not
not.
necessarily. Those who said ad ignorantium, why ad ignorantium?
Because they're claiming something without proving it, because nobody actually said that they had questions. That was the use. That was the reasoning for why they were going to have a test.
Precisely. It's claiming something's true just because it hasn't been shown to be false. Yeah, they're saying that the professor says the class is no question, since the class is no question, since no one's asking anything, but that may not necessarily be true. As any teacher will tell you, all y'all stay real quiet, and then all of a sudden I get 16 emails after class. Because people don't want, for some odd reason, don't like to ask questions in class. For, I guess the reason is you don't want to look like you're the dumb one in class, when that's not true at all. Because if you ask a question, you're probably asking a question for 5 to 6 other people who have the same question. So never feel like, I mean, the question in the fallacy in and of itself, yes, is ad ignorantium. But on a larger discussion, don't feel ever like, here's the great thing about asking a question in class or trying to answer a question in class. If you're right, then cool, you got the answer right, and you shared that that other people who didn't necessarily know it could see the logic behind how you got to that answer. And if you're incorrect, well, then we talk about how to get to the correct answer, and everybody still learns. So there's no reason why you should feel worried about answering a question correctly or incorrectly. At least in my class. I don't know if any other professors give you a hard time, but uh, we will always end up getting to the answer one way or the other. Just your involvement is a lot easier than me just kind of telling you, because then there's some critical thought involved. Student tells his professor that he thinks some of Donald Trump's positions have merit. Professor says he can't believe that the student believes in supporting racism. "15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, we got a bunch of them. Straw man, red herring, equivocation. Okay, so let's see. Why equivocation?
I think it's equivocation because of the meaning differs from what he was said. He was said earlier. I think.
Yeah, he was talking more about like he agrees with some of his positions, and then the professor just straight up went to racism.
Do we have any term that is shifting in the sentence?
Not exactly.
Merit?
Let's see. Is merit repeated in the second sentence?
No.
Let's see. So we don't have a shifting of terms. So we're not quite in the equivocation area. I see. Let's go ahead and see. Somebody said red herring. Why would it be red herring? As a reminder, red herring is introducing an irrelevant or secondary subject and thereby diverting attention from the main subject. Okay, so it's Liana's saying, introducing that he's racist to divert his attention from his political opinion. Well, I mean, there are some, one would argue some sort of xenophobic comments or racist comments that Trump has spoken. But is that the totality of what Donald Trump's positions are? He also talked about, bringing back infrastructure spending and talking about reopening up manufacturing. I mean, that could be something that, the student feels. He says some of Donald's positions have merit. He didn't say all of them. But if the student says that he thinks some of them are okay, and then the professor says that he just straight up believes in supporting racism, where do you think that starts going? It's almost as if he's exaggerating the student's position, no?
Yes.
Which would make it what?
Straw man.
Straw man. It is. It's exaggerating it. Straw man, a caricature of an opposing view exaggerated from what anyone's likely to hold, so it's easy to refute. It's easy to refute racism, but it's harder to have a conversation about infrastructure spending. So yeah, it's a straw man. Mike, it's morally wrong to cheat on your spouse. Why on earth would you have done that? Well, what is morality exactly? It's a code of conduct shared by cultures. But who creates this code? Y'all been wanting to say this one for a while. And here it is. "15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. It is indeed. It's a red herring. It's a distraction. Introducing irrelevant or secondary subject, thereby diverting attention from the main subject. Definitely definitely something someone would want to do if they're being asked about cheating on their spouse. A parent who says the teacher doesn't know how to teach because she graduated from a community college. Ouch. That's not very nice. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yep, you got it. It's an ad hominem attack. It's an attack on the person. Pamela is the class secretary. She thinks that the class should do more service projects. Mark says that he can't believe that Pamela doesn't support the annual school dance. Pamela is the class secretary. She says that she thinks the class should do more service projects. Mark says he can't believe that Pamela doesn't support the annual school dance. 20 seconds. Think about it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I see red herring. I see equivocation. I see straw man. Let's see. Straw man. Not all of you are answering. Let's see. Straw man, red herring, red straw man. Okay, so let's see. Red herring, introducing an irrelevant or secondary subject and thereby diverting attention from the main subject. I guess this is all talking about opportunity costs because Pamela is the class secretary. I guess we can make the assumption that they're talking about that these are people talking in the student council. So she's talking about opportunity costs, what the student council might want to focus more on. Mark says that he can't believe that Pamela just doesn't want to do any dances and just do service projects. There we go. Yep, I'm seeing people starting to change their minds. It is indeed. It's a straw man. It's an exaggeration of the position that Pamela is holding. Public schools K through 12 need to have much easier. Oh, for the record, just for clarification and context, it's a student saying this. Public schools K through 12 need to have much easier exams for students because teachers don't fully realize the extent of the emotional repercussions of the sorrow and depression of the many students who could score much better on easier exams. 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Looks like most of you are getting, yeah, it's ad misericordiam. It's a, I see circular argument, but circular is implicitly using your conclusion as a premise. There's not really, the conclusion here is, they should have easier exams because they don't understand. There's no real circular logic happening here. So what is going on though is emotional and repercussions and sorrow and depression probably should have been the big giveaway that this is an appeal to pity. It's ad misericordiam. Appealing to pity is an argument for special treatment. Special treatment being easier exams. Here's a fun one. All bark is grown on trees. All dogs bark. All dogs are trees. 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yep, yeah, you can see it from a mile away. Bark, bark. Yeah, it's equivocation. The bark of a tree as opposed to a dog's bark. You have to save enough money to pay your bills each month because bills have to be paid. You got to pay your bills because bills have to be paid. 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yep, circular argument. Very good. After Sally presents an eloquent and compelling case for a more equitable taxation system, Sam asks the audience whether we should believe anything from a woman who isn't married, was once arrested, and smells a bit weird. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you can see it from a mile away. It's a personal attack. Ad hominem. Very good. Okay. Here are our last two. This one and one more. Mr. President, your opponent, Walter Mondale, is considerably younger than you. Do you think that with the threat of nuclear war, age should be an issue in this campaign? Not at all. I'm not going to exploit my opponent's youth and inexperience. Brilliant. This is real, by the way. This one's a real one. This is the debate between President Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale. Few more seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Red herring, straw man, red herring. Interesting. Okay, so let's look at straw man. A caricature of an opposing view exaggerated from what anyone is likely to hold, so it is easy to refute. Now, the interesting thing here is the reporter is asking President Reagan about his older age. Yet Reagan replies with not wanting to exploit Walter Mondale's younger age.
Oh, is that the equivalent?
I'm sorry?
Is that equivocation?
Not quite. He's deflecting. He's dodging the question and bringing up Mondale instead of himself.
That would be an attack, right?
Well, he's not so much attacking Walter Mondale as he is trying to avoid answering a question.
Red herring?
It's a red herring.
Hmm.
It's because he's trying to get away from talking about his own age, because he was in his 70s at this point, and Mondale was in his early 50s.
Yeah.
But isn't it also kind of ad hominem because he's like not deliberately saying he has no youth or no experience in a way, but he's like sort of like implying it.
Sort of, but the crux of it isn't so much to attack Mondale as it is to get away from answering his question. Mondale's just kind of collateral damage in his intent. For the record, when this happened, Walter Mondale was laughing uncontrollably. He thought this was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember I remember watching it on TV.
Yeah, there's footage of this back from from the mid 80s. It's actually a pretty funny clip. Student tells his professor that he thinks that some of Hillary Clinton's positions have merit. Professor says he can't believe that the student supports giving access to classified documents to foreign countries. Oh, how funny this is now in hindsight. 20 seconds. Three, two, one. Strawman, 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 strawman. And indeed, it is. It's an exaggeration. It's a strawman.
Hmm.
And last but not least, we should not build bike lanes because cyclists run red lights and endanger pedestrians. So we shouldn't build bike lanes at all because a couple of people run red lights and endanger pedestrians, but all of them do. 15 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now, let's see. Personal attack. Well, I see it ad hominem. Let's see. It's not necessarily a personal attack because it's not directed at somebody in particular. It's kind of cyclists writ large. And there are some cyclists who do run red lights and endanger pedestrians, but do all of them do it? As the argument is purporting. This is saying, and taking it to the nth degree, that all cyclists run red lights and endanger pedestrians, so we shouldn't build bike lanes at all. It's a lot easier to refute that kind of a case, isn't it? And when you exaggerate your case in order for it to be easy to refute, what is that?
Straw man.
It is. Indeed it is. It's a straw man.